Welcome back to Tempest Podcast. I'm your host, Robbie, and I'm sitting in the Kangaroo Sports Studio, and across from me is my co-host, Adam Nilsson, and let's get this over with. I mean, welcome to the podcast.
2 weeks in a row, motherfuckers.
Everyone's complaining. Like,
what do you want from us?
We care about the fans.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. See you next week.
Yeah, exactly.
Click. That would be the best.
A 2-minute show that shows up on like
Yeah. Boom. What up?
Short show.
So, how's life?
Cold, man. I'm freaking cold.
Don't even.
It's that time of year where like it's like I go in the into winter where it's like that first cold. Where I'm like, it's cold. I haven't adjusted to the cold yet.
Yeah.
That's usually around November.
Yeah.
And then I adjust to the cold, and I'm okay with it. And then end of January, early February hits when you get like the record
real cold.
Yeah, like the -8s to start your day.
Yeah, it was -14 when I woke up at my house this morning.
Yep. I remember what -27 felt like. Fuck that.
Yeah.
No, this is that time of year where I'm just always cold, not happy.
Yeah.
I want to just sleep a lot.
Yeah.
And I've been getting up to work earlier.
Gross.
Like, getting up at 6 or getting in at 6 every day. So
why? Don't do that, Robbie.
They're doing like more overtime stuff, so they want coverage. So
does that mean you get to leave earlier?
Some days, yes, which is nice.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're a salaried employee, so
yeah. Like I get my 40 hours in.
Well, 30 hours of work, 25 hours of work, 40 hours of presence.
Yeah, my presence is a present. That's what they say.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm sure I've triggered at least.
You're an engineer.
Yeah,
I know how
I've triggered every non-engineer on the show.
Fucking office employees.
How's it going, Ryan?
God damn it. God damn it.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, real cold, huh? Sitting in your office.
Yeah, you must be freezing to death, Robbie.
Yeah, it was 72 in there today. Couldn't believe it.
I had 4 layers on today.
That's saying something.
On everything.
That's saying something
I'm
for you.
still wearing 2 layers on my legs.
It's cold in the basement.
Well, I got my thermal long john underwear on. Got to have those.
Yes.
Basically from like November-ish through sometime in March.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Oh, yeah.
I wear those.
Yep. No, I would too.
I'm more dressed than you think I am, Robbie.
Because you're usually the guy that doesn't wear the coat.
I don't wear a coat when I'm walking from my house to my vehicle and then from my vehicle to a store or to
when you're
your
driving.
house. Or I hate wearing coats when I'm driving. But like when I'm outside working,
then you wear a coat.
I have bibs and coats and sweatshirts and I'm layered.
Yeah.
I bought a boot dryer.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Oh my God. I bought it last year and I used it all of last year and I used it a lot this winter too, but it's like, oh my God, it's the best $20 I've ever spent.
Yes.
Bar none. Putting my feet into dry, warm boots every single morning is literally the greatest thing in the world.
You know what I never thought about, but that'd be a good thing to have at the track for your like racing boots.
Yeah, to dry out your racing shoes.
They're gonna be soaking wet.
Yeah. They make like helmet dryers.
Yep, I've seen those.
Yeah.
Huh. That's a $20 idea.
It's not a bad one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. You put the gloves on there too. I put my gloves on mine every once in a while.
Yep.
They don't fit on there very well, but it does the job.
But they need to be dry. That's what's I bought an extra pair of gloves so I didn't have to do that again.
It's gross.
And they get stiff.
The next day, it's so gross. You feel so disgusting putting that shit
I am
on.
disgusting. I did this to these gloves, and I am disgusting.
Exactly.
I am the
I
reason.
have no one to blame but myself, but I'm still grossed out by it.
I am the reason these gloves always sit like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're the white, the sweat stains on them.
And you can't just wash that. You're not supposed to just wash that
Can't
stuff.
just wash it, no. It's the type of thing that if you throw in the washing machine, it changes it forever.
You're not supposed to do that
I know,
anyway, because
it changes it forever.
Yeah. It'll wash
Ruins
out all the flame retardantness.
That's not how that works.
You're not supposed to wash FR stuff.
No, you're not supposed to wash it.
You're supposed to dry clean it.
Yes.
I can't imagine a more douchey thing than strolling into your dry cleaner with your race suit.
Which has been soaked to the bone with sweat.
And now that you're endurance racing, you're probably going to piss in it, too.
Based on our fuel stop,
yeah,
I doubt it.
Your fuel
fucking doubt it.
Jesus Christ! You've been doing GLTC stints.
No. 2 GLTCs now. I assume that's part of the questions you have for me later?
No, I just have one question.
Oh.
I mean, we can get into that right now if you want.
You want to, before we open it up, you want to
Sure.
just get real serious?
Yeah. Yeah.
We got serious questions?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just one question.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought this was part of the questions.
No. I just have a question about that endeavor and your racing trajectory from here to
10 years from now?
yes. How badly do you think this car is going to fuck everything else up? So let's say that you guys do your, I mean,
yeah, that seems like a perfect time to transition.
I love Booney, and I'm friends with basically everybody who's involved in that racing team, and I wish you nothing but the best. But team racing at an amateur level is never a long-term thing.
No. It takes a very...
It's just like college roommates. Like
everyone gets new roommates every year because no one can live together.
Right. Even if you're best friends, don't move in with your best friend.
Never.
No, it's a bad idea.
My best roommates were the ones that I met the day they moved in.
Yeah, exactly.
I got along with Andrew and Brian. Great.
Yeah.
Never met them before.
Right.
That's why we were the best of friends
Right.
while we were roommates.
But let's say this lasts 5 years, and then you move on to other things. How badly, can you jump out of the NPO1, which is, for all intents and purposes, a purebred race car?
It's a prototype.
It is not a car that you took from a street trim and turned into a track car. It was designed and built from the get-go to be on the track, and it's very different.
Yes.
Its seating position is different.
Uh-huh.
It makes all the race car noises.
Uh-huh.
It does all the...
Yep.
Can you jump back into the 350 and be like, yeah, this is fine? Do you...
I think that's how I'm going to describe it. It's fine. It's fine.
But
Robert, how are you feeling? I'm fine.
Do you think it's going to have the same... Or are you going to come out on the other end of this experience and be like, well, now I got to buy an open wheel?
Realistically, I see it going 2 ways.
Okay.
So the NPO1 has a Sadev sequential.
Yeah.
You are leaned back, not quite Formula One leaned back.
No, but you're not sitting
racing,
upright like a race car, like a street car.
Correct. You are in a racing position.
Yeah, it's similar to a shifter cart in seating position.
Similar, yes.
Yeah.
That's probably a little more aggressive of a lean.
Maybe.
And then my the way I have my seat, I'm a little more set up.
Yeah,
Booney's leaned back a little bit more than I am. But,
right.
But long term, so let's say I see it going 2 ways. So went from the 350Z now to the NPO1. One path would be, which I think is absolutely on the table, is that I'm going to do this until I'm sick of doing it, and I'll never drive another race car again.
I don't think that's going to happen.
That's always on the table, where I finally, it's like skating. I always said I'd never quit skating, and technically I never quit.
But I think
it got to that point where I'm like, I'm not doing this right now.
I think more of the reason that I don't skate, and I think you, maybe to a lesser extent, but certainly to some extent, don't skate either, is not because I don't have the desire or the time or the interest. It's because I'm fucking old and my body is decrepit, and it takes so much longer to heal.
And it's so expensive.
It's really not.
The healing.
Not
the skating. No. The cracking your head against the cement is so expensive.
Well, I think if we still skated as hard as we did, or as often as we did then, I think our skating styles would be dramatically different.
Yeah.
I don't think that, because you and I both, on pretty regular occasions, went after big tricks.
Yeah.
I don't think we'd do that as hard as, because even when we were skating a lot, I was starting to tail off of that stuff already.
Yeah, the higher risk stuff wasn't fun anymore.
My first job out of college where I was traveling, I literally got sat down by my boss and told,
you need to stop.
I'm not going to tell you can't do this, but you can't keep getting hurt like you are. You are a liability at work because of your injuries outside of work. And that's got to stop or I'll have to fire you.
Yep.
And so, like, I mean, I have a wife and kids and a house and a mortgage and all that stuff. Like, I can't risk that now because my job, while being dramatically different, would have the same outcome.
Yeah. No, you need to be able to go to work.
Right. And so I couldn't skate as hard as I did when I was in high school and did not care.
Right.
But, like, I don't see either one of us not doing something in the car world for a long time.
No, I'm right. I don't think any time in the near future that would actually be a thing.
No.
I could see myself taking a step back and not doing it as often.
Oh, for sure.
But even then, I'd still have the Z and I'd just take it out for fun. I don't ever, it's like skating. I don't see myself just like, I'm done here. Fuck it.
But you're not, is there any part in your head that goes, okay, I did a bunch of these endurance races and I drove this wild prototype car, basically, and then I'm going to hop back in that 350Z and go, this is not as much fun.
It's fine.
And it's going to cost you $40,000
Oh, it would be way more than that.
to fix that
It
problem.
would be way more than that.
Well, you'd just buy a sequential for the 350 and put some Jim Wolf Engineering or Jim Wolf Technologies VQ 42 or whatever it is that they make now.
That'd be so good.
And like just go hog.
That'd be good. Or open wheel, or yeah.
Or yeah, like buy an open wheeler. Or
The other path.
but like then what do you do with that?
I don't know.
That's the thing that like there's even less to do with that.
Yeah,
With an open wheel car than like the NPO1.
Yeah, you'd have to be willing to do major traveling or chase after a Formula 4 setup.
Which is
like
big money.
Because if you're doing like Formula Atlantics and stuff, you can't do it here.
No.
Not regionally. Or
Well, not if you want to race against somebody.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, you can go buy one. You can do what are essentially lapping days at an event.
Yep.
Because there's not going to be anybody else in your field.
Nope. Not until you get to runoffs.
Yeah. Like if you go to a majors event, you might get 2 or 3 Atlantics around here.
I don't think I've seen more than 2 on track at the same time.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
So.
I don't know. I just wondered if like this is like, fuck. Like I always kind of think that about guys who get really deep into any
hobby.
motorsport. Like if you take someone like Ferris, who has like one of the most wild and insane cars in the country right now. Yes. And like at some point that trajectory almost has to back off. But like then what do you do?
Here's my other comparison of what path I would go down.
Uh-huh.
So the first path would be where I would get to the point where I'm sick of it and I'm done. Or the other path is more like being the desensitized to pornography path.
We're just gonna get wilder and wilder and wilder.
So
the next thing you know,
I started off with softcore, then I upgraded to hardcore, and now I found my kink.
Yeah, okay.
And now that I've already used all my kink, I need more kink.
Okay.
And I'm all the way down here, Adam, and it's gonna get real kinky.
Robbie, we're talking about race cars, not.
Oh, I thought we were talking about porn. But no, that is the other end of the spectrum that I think it could really possibly go down.
I think that's probably more likely.
So yeah, 350Z was my softcore, or 240 was my softcore.
Yeah.
Z was my hardcore. This is my first kink.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, because you go from the NPO1 and the next step up beyond that would be like an LMP3 car.
Yeah.
And the way it was...
I don't know about that.
Well, okay. People know what I'm talking about, so let's use that as an example. Because it's like 8X to run a weekend with an LMP3 car compared to the cost of an NPO1.
Yeah.
But an LMP3 is an NPO1 on steroids. So it'd be like, thank you, Daddy, can I have another? And now that I've already gone past that, I need it to be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, okay.
And the MV3 would be more aggressive. So I realistically, I'm going to get desensitized to my pornography, and I'm going to need more, Adam.
I know. That's what I was getting at. That wasn't the graphic description I was expecting, but that's exactly what I was worried about.
That is the graphic description that people come to this podcast for.
That's probably fair.
Yeah. No one saw it coming, but no one was surprised.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sorry to your children that were listening to hear about my kinks.
I would hope that that's not a thing.
Oh, it's for sure a thing. People are driving with their family in the back, listening to this podcast.
God, I hope not. As a family man, I hope not.
We, as a podcast, have ruined the trajectory of so many lives.
That's probably somewhat true.
People are like, we're going to do this for the content.
Dude, I have a lot of friends that have, joined into this dumb world because of me.
Yes.
Even pre-podcast.
Do you think I'd be driving an NP01 this year if I wasn't on this podcast?
No.
Six years ago, do you think I would have put me in this position?
No.
Not a chance.
But even pre-podcast, I was already facilitating your bad decisions.
Yes. You are the reason I got that 240 ever on any track.
Yeah. And
you did this to me.
I got Josh into racing, and Don, which is how
Booney?
Well, Josh Fettis.
Oh,
which is how Dalton ended up where he is.
Yup. You're a worse drug dealer than Adam Jabay.
No, let's not get carried away. Whoa, that's not even kind of true.
That's true.
He's ruined way more lives than I have.
Yeah, the Grid Life family has spent way more money than our little group has.
Right. Yeah. Collectively.
Yeah.
Right. Because I don't have, with the exception of Ryan, I don't have any pointy end of any class friends. And his car was only pointy end because that class hasn't had enough time to develop into the stupidity that the rest of the classes are.
Oh, it's getting there.
Oh, I'm well aware. Trust me. Club TR next year is going to be silly.
All of Grid Life is going to be silly.
But once again, Club TR is going to be one of those classes where the first couple of years, last year's lap record wouldn't put you on this year's podium. I'd almost guarantee it.
For sure.
Which is dumb.
Well, it's like GLTC. It's disgusting how much the cars are going to be faster.
Yeah.
Disgustingly faster.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Andy Smedgar's time at Barber.
Fuck! He was
holy cow.
So fucking
That's
fast.
wild fast. I don't remember what the time was.
Like a 135 or something?
But I don't remember if it was Andrew Raines posted it on his personal or if it was posted on Apex stuff or what. But they said that the time that he ran his 200 horsepower S2000 is normally reserved for 500 horsepower street tire cars.
Yes. Yeah. Because Alex Moss was talking about when he had the, what's the other
Super
car?
K.
Super K. He did a 131.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's only 1.5 seconds faster than Smedgard's time? Didn't he run I
think he did I want to say he did a 35, but that's still, that's within pretty decent shouting distance of an insanely fast car.
Yeah. Of one of the wildest S2000s on the planet.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good luck, everybody. Yeah, Grid Life's next level on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's been a couple of times where people talk about in the Sunday Cup chat that I've got roped into that a lot of those guys like to go to other track days to remember that they're not as bad as they think they are because Grid Life people are so damn fast.
It's runoffs every week.
But then James Morgan shows up at some random Gingerman track day in his Honda Fit and is chasing down GT3s. And it's oh yeah, I forgot that I'm not that slow compared to the rest of the world.
Yes. It's just I decided to pick the most competitive group ever.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know, man. Grid Life's a weird world. So,
how about we open this up?
Shall we?
As always, our opener is presented by Factory Fabrication. FactoryFabrication.com. If you need any custom furniture or railings or cages, we talked about cages in people's homes and basements and cars last week. Use code 1010 if you want a cage or a rail or this sweet table, well, not this sweet table, but a better table than this one, or a podcast studio, or a sweet restaurant decor, bookcases.
I would love to see what Booney would do with a podcast studio.
That would be fucking sweet. Maybe when he's done with when we're not so busy with the NPO1, he could build us a podcast studio.
So in 5 years.
Oh God, no! He'll be so much because of all of the fans from the podcast as well as the racing. He's going to have so many projects. He won't have time for a podcast studio.
That's fair.
But he needs to be reminded where all these people came from. So use code 10tenths and let him know, hey, that railing you made for me, you can thank 10 tenths. Or something like that. I don't know.
Whatever. So, this week, as we often do, we're going to go over one of these silly little jalopnik listicles. It's kind of a listicle.
It's a listicle.
It's a crowdsourced listicle. But it's kind of interesting. There's some really terrifying things in here. So this one is weirdest unserviceable car parts.
Okay.
So what they do a lot of times, if you're not a Jalopnik follower,
I'm not.
Right, is that they'll post out like a question of the day, and then the next day the writer will take his favorite answers in the comments and make,
Yes, I want to trash them for doing that. We've done that on the show like a million times.
Yeah, no, actually, I think it's a good way of keeping an engaged audience. I don't have any problem with
no,
because they're not claiming it as news.
No, it's
just an article,
and they reference who they
right. And there's some really interesting things in here. So basically, what this was is like parts that were buried in dumb places or were unserviceable, because of a bigger problem or whatever it is.
Okay.
So there's some really interesting things in here.
I have a good example.
Serve it up.
So it's like on the Ford Edge. When the carrier bearing of the drive shaft goes out, it's like a $13 part. Yeah, they don't sell that separately. You have to buy the whole drive shaft, and it's $1,300.
Oh, good. Ford's on here for another similar thing.
I believe that.
So my big one that I've ran into in the past, on my Audi, on my TT.
Yep.
So I had the 225 Quattro, which the 225 horsepower all-wheel drive car had a 6-speed, whereas the 180 horsepower front-wheel drive, and I think also the 180 all-wheel drive car only had a 5-speed. The 5-speed transmission, the slave cylinder is mounted to the bell housing of the transmission and can be removed by just pulling the battery out, taking 2 bolts out, and swapping it.
That's nice.
On the 6-speed, it's built into the throwout bearing. You got to pull the trans.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy trans to pull, I assume.
No, because it's transverse in there and it's buried in shit.
Oh, what a pain.
And it's got the all-wheel drive system attached to it.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it was terrible to replace. Especially when it turned out to not be the problem. That was a whole different thing.
That is the most frustrating thing ever.
Well, you get online, you're like, well, it's either your slave or your master, but most people say the slave fails first. Okay, well, here we go. There's no way to troubleshoot short of replacing.
Yep.
When you have it's either one or the other, but you can't isolate one and test it.
Oh, shit.
You know what? Like in a hydraulic system with a slave and a master, like you just have to replace it.
Yep.
There's no, all you can do is troubleshoot it down to yep, that's the problem. Now I got to replace one or the other. Yeah.
Cars are dumb.
So that sucked. So first up, Yaris headlights. Toyota Yaris, one of my favorite quirky little econobox shit cars.
Speaking of daily drivers Adam needs.
Oh, so apparently they have one of the worst seating positions of all time.
Why?
I don't know.
There's only so many places you could sit in that little thing.
Well, apparently it's one of those deals where I don't know. I need to sit in one.
I do too now.
But I really desperately love them.
Yeah, they're terrible.
So
that's why.
When I was actively playing Forza a lot, I would do everything I could to use what was essentially a Yaris. It was called an Igo because it was from Britain or whatever. But in any of the online competitions, I would use the Igo in any of them I could make it work in.
That's amazing.
It was my favorite dumb little car to Hoon.
This is the dumb little car you need in your life.
I don't disagree with that at all. It's
Sell
basically a Toyota Fit,
but better.
because it's not a Honda.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, and it's not a Fit like everybody else has.
That's why I don't want a Fit.
No, you can't have a Fit. We've gone down this path. You can't have it.
Yeah, same with the Miata.
Nope, not a
Can't
thing.
buy a Miata.
Nope.
Well, no, I've burned those bridges.
There's a few bridges I burned too.
Yeah.
This is for you, man. But why do we
So
have to worry?
apparently, in order to replace a bulb, you have to remove the entire front bumper.
Chevy does this too. A lot of the new Chevys do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a thing.
It's very much a thing now.
Yeah. But that's super frustrating because it should be a simple, easy to work on car because it's a cheap, shitty Econobox.
Yeah, that should be like 2 or 3 bolts. Take the whole thing out.
Right. But no.
Gross.
Honestly, like in the scale of some of these, that's not that bad.
No, it's just super annoying for something that
Yeah.
shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So I understand why it's on the
So-
list.
Next up, Mustang S550, which is the newest generation, Robbie.
No, it's not.
Yes, because this has been burned into my brain.
It's the S550.
Cabin air filters. First of all, this cabin air filter thing is dumb.
Cabin air filter.
Yeah. So a lot of new vehicles have an air filter that you're supposed to replace with some regularity. Although apparently, according to this anyway, most manufacturers don't really have it as a service interval.
No, they don't.
But Ford has it as a 30,000 mile service interval.
Okay.
But you have to pull the dash. It's 8 hours on the books to replace the cabin air filter in an S550.
For everyone listening at home, raise your hand if you've ever changed a cabin air filter.
Right. That's one of those things that like,
No!
my heater core failed, so I'm going to replace it. And while I'm there,
That's the only time.
yeah, but 8 hours on the books, pull the entire dash
Nope.
to replace a cabin air filter.
There has to be a mouse currently living in that filter before I'll change it.
Absolutely.
At an 8 hour interval.
Yeah.
Not a thing,
So
man.
dumb. So dumb. So, next up, clutch position sensors in the Audi A4 B8, which is a newer, but not the newest, but newer-ish.
So people are starting to realize the service stuff on this car.
So the clutch position sensor, instead of it just being a sensor by itself, it's because the car wants to know when the clutch is pushed in.
It should just be a little button.
Right, that's how it was on my TT.
how it is on the
It was
Z.
a little button. It was a button you had to replace if you removed it from its mount, which is fucking stupid. And also, if you go to an Audi dealership and you tell them you need it and the parts guy's an asshole, he'll sell you an Audi one instead of the Volkswagen one, which was half as much money, and green instead of black.
Oh,
I learned that the hard way because the second time I went in to buy one after I had to replace my master cylinder a second fucking time, I hate that car so much.
I learned
The
what
second parts guy was like, "Oh yeah, how about I sell you the Volkswagen one that's just a different color and costs half as much?" Yeah, how about you do that?
Yes, please. I tried to get a replacement key for the Focus today.
No, that's not a thing either, is it?
$89.
Yeah, it's super dumb because it's chipped.
Because they're like, yeah, we'll chip it for. And I'm like, I have the software, I have the oscilloscope, I have the whole thing on my computer.
Yeah.
I can change the codes. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
No, it's got to be $89. Okay, I'll get the $20 one off eBay. Thanks. I'll do it my fucking self.
Yeah. So anyway, the clutch position sensor, they built it into the master cylinder.
No.
And so when it fails, the whole thing has to come out. So instead of being like a $20 switch, it's $1,000 in parts and labor.
Oh, what a mess.
How dumb.
That's an engineer fucking over a mechanic.
But why would you integrate those two things? And why
Well, I mean, that's like the Audi had the clutch fluid and the ABS fluid in the same reservoir.
a lot of cars do that.
I don't
now.
like that at all.
No, I don't like it either, but a lot of cars do that now where the brake and the clutch draw off the same reservoir.
Yep.
But the clutch draws off like in the middle and the brake comes off the bottom.
Yep. Yeah, because
So
the
in
944 was that way too.
Yeah, in my TT, the reservoir was mounted to the brake master cylinder and
Yep.
just fed right off the bottom. And then there was like a little bung in the center of the reservoir and a hose that went down to the clutch master.
So in theory, if you had a big horrible leak, you would lose
Right.
clutch before you lose brakes.
Right.
So at least they thought that far through.
Right. Honestly, it's probably more of a paranoia thing than it is a real problem.
I'm sure it's not really a problem. You just look at it and go, That doesn't pass the gut check.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure if it's not something that fails often.
No. But so next up, 12th gen Ford F-150 steering shafts.
All right, Ford.
So the steering wheel shaft can, everyone knows what that does. It's basically a 2-foot long shaft with joints on both ends. Apparently, one of those joints, the lower joint, seizes pretty regularly. Nobody sells an aftermarket one. You got to buy the whole damn shaft. It's $500 at a dealership.
Whoa, that's like $20 worth of material.
Yeah, this guy says he's found a few online in the $300 range. But you can't just like stroll into a parts store and buy one.
So is this like the joint sitting on a header or something, like where it gets overheated?
I don't know. I would guess it's probably out in the elements near the steering rack and probably just seizes from time.
Yeah, I suppose it's probably just someone driving it in horrible conditions.
Yeah, it's probably a bad, it's probably not like a sealed bearing or something like that. Something stupid.
I mean, yeah, I'd say it's just a plain J&U joint.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, between heat and corrosion, I suppose. But still, damn, that sucks.
Yeah. Next up, one of Robbie's favorite cars.
Oh, this will be good.
The Cadillac Xlr.
It's fine.
I feel like you've talked about this specific problem in the past.
The taillights?
The taillights. So apparently they're a sealed LED unit with a chipboard built into the inside of it. And that chipboard fails because that was pretty early on in our LED conversion.
Yeah, real early.
Right. And since that was not a car that got sold in great numbers, nobody makes one.
Oh, shit.
And so they're $2,000 each on eBay.
Oh, for used ones.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you got one with half its life gone already.
Yeah. For all you know, you could put it in there and it'll burn out tomorrow.
Like my rain light.
Yeah. Except that was a real problem. That was different.
Yeah, my new one works, though.
But,
so even though it's on a car, I'll never see it, but it's fine.
Yeah, when the supply is, this guy says, when the supply runs out, we're going to have a lot of mechanically totaled XLRs because the taillights just cannot be serviced and replaced.
Wow. They're going to have to make like a do-it-yourself LED kit for that.
Yeah, somebody, I feel like some enthusiast who lives in his mom's basement and somehow owns a Cadillac Xlr has fixed this, can fix these circuit boards.
Oh, Don could fix that in an afternoon. It'd be
probably fun. Yeah, but like
it costs like $13.
Right,
he'd make it. He'd have like the write up.
He should charge $1,000 because
he should,
he'd
but
be half as much, and you'd be happy about it.
Yep.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a weird one. So, 2000 Mercury Sable, and then I assume also the Taurus heater core replacement. So, apparently the hoses on the firewall are nearly impossible to access, and you have to remove the whole dash and cut off a bracket so the core can be pulled out at just the right angle.
So how do you get the new one in?
You have to remove all that stuff.
Yeah.
Pull the old one out, put the new one in, and then the bracket's probably fucked. I mean, I assume it's some sort of dash bracket.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It doesn't say specifically.
Because if you have to break the bracket to take it out, I can't imagine you just put the bracket back in. Or that a new one would go right back where it was because it's broken. Yeah,
I don't know. It just says cut off a bracket. It doesn't say what the bracket is holding.
Wow.
I
want to say I had an ex that had this happen to her. It wasn't a Mercury Sable. I think it was a Taurus.
Taurus is the same thing. Mechanically the same car.
Yeah, I want to say she had a Taurus that did that.
So I realize that heater cores kind of, are in a place where they're going to be hard to work with. But why are so many of somebody should have thought of this and figured out a better way to put them in cars so they can be serviced.
Right.
Because, I don't know of any car. I'm sure there's a car that exists. But, every car that I've ever had to deal with, a heater core is a huge undertaking, no matter what it is.
As far as I know, every car, you have to, basically take the entire dash out.
Well, I know there's some vehicles that they can be done from the firewall on the outside.
Oh, that'd be cool. Why don't they just have a trap door?
Right. Why is it? Why doesn't it, like, why can't I just pull 4 bolts and pull the airbox off the firewall? There are some vehicles where it can be done from under the hood.
Oh, that'd be great. Smart.
But they're still kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah. But still,
It's better than pulling a dash, though.
better than pulling a dash.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a way to do it.
And apparently now minivans, and I would guess probably a lot of these big 3-row SUVs that have multi-zone climate control have rear heater cores, which I'm sure aren't any better.
Oh, it's got to be way worse.
Yeah. And that's got
to be such a mess.
That's what ultimately was the doom of my Caravan.
Yeah.
Was one of the hard lines rusted through and puked a bunch of coolant out, and Katie overheated it.
Yep, I remember that now.
Which wasn't entirely her fault.
No.
But
still.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Sucks.
It was one of the lines going to the rear heater core.
How many gallons does it take to fill that system?
Did
you ever look?
Yeah, it's too many.
That'd be a lot.
I mean, it was a pretty small. It was like probably what I would guess is probably like a 3/4
to 1-inch hose
to 7/8 inner diameter hard line.
Hard line all the way back?
It was hard line. It was a hard line bolted to the chassis, and then there was a soft line where it rolled in and a from under the hood, and then a hose going up.
It was just out on the out.
It was it ran along the
frame rail,
along the frame rail,
like a brake line. Then
yeah,
okay,
yeah. And it corroded through and rusted. That was why the hard line is what failed.
Oh, that sucks.
The hard line rusted through.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't really.
And I'm not totally sure, although I don't think this is the case, but I could see it being the case in some situations. I'm not totally sure that it probably wasn't that it got jacked on with swapping tires or something like that.
Easy enough to do. I mean, that's how.
It's not very. At least on the one I had, it wasn't in like a smart place to prevent that from happening. If you weren't really paying attention, you could definitely smash it with a jack.
Especially if it's a car that's already had the pinch welds are all destroyed already.
Yeah.
You're like, whatever.
Yeah, and that thing is that the Caravan I had was probably not safe. It was so rusty. It was bad.
I don't remember it being that bad.
Dude, it was bad. It was
I
real
remember
bad.
there being a little rust.
Oh, it was real bad. No, so they did like some real sketchy stuff to try and hide some of the rust on it.
Oh shit.
I want to know where people the people I bought it from were not car people. Like they weren't like body shop fly-by-nighters.
No.
Like, and what they used was it wasn't Bondo. I want to know where these people are finding these like YouTube DIY
cover up your rust.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Like, are they making it out of like fucking newspapers and Elmer glue?
Whatever they can find at Walmart.
I don't know what they're doing, man.
Crazy.
So, next up, one I've heard before, the Lotus Elise clamshell.
What's clamshell?
The front clamshell, which is what hinges up.
The bonnet.
Yeah, if you will. I mean, the frunk cover. Yeah, it's
there's not even a frunk.
Basically, all the body work in front of the A pillar is one big piece that's on a hinge.
Oh, yeah.
And so even just a little crack, it can be enough to total the whole thing.
That's a stupid
like
design.
Insurance total.
Yeah.
Like you and I would fix it, right? Like if this was my track car.
Oh, I wouldn't even fix it. I'd just drill some holes and like zip tie it.
Yeah, or like worst case scenario, like if it's the end of the race season, I might like
take the time to
fix it over the winter with some fiberglass and some aforementioned newspapers and Elmer's glue. But
I used to be that guy. I just don't. I just cover it with a vinyl. Fuck it.
Well, yeah, but I might depending on how bad the crack is, I might fix it and then wrap it.
Don't look at the Z.
That's fine.
Because remember where Dalton fucked it up and I had that big crack?
I'm not going to judge you.
Yeah, I just went through and like glued like a piece of plastic behind it so it's like all in one plane, and I just put vinyl over top of it. I was like, good enough. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
That's the part that's going to hit things anyways.
So, yeah, I guess it's very difficult to remove, very expensive to paint, and incredibly labor-intensive to put back on.
I believe that. So,
Road and Track ran a story in 2018 about a guy who bought one with a salvage title due to a cracked bumper with a quote to repair it of $19,000.
Ooh. I think I've seen one on Copart with that as well. Not that I'm shopping for Lotuses on Copart regularly.
You should be, though. That'd be a good way.
Don't tell.
That'd be a good way to, like, fill the hole that your heart now has.
There is no way a Lotus Elise is going to satisfy my kink like an LMP or NPO1 car would.
Well, not a stock one.
I've been desensitized, Adam.
Well, yeah, that's why you fucking put a sequential and a turbo on that bad boy.
It needs to be rougher than that.
Put some really stiff shocks in it. I don't know.
Fucking Racelands. I don't care.
So, ooh, Robbie. The next one.
No.
One you're intimately aware of. One I've heard you complain about.
Fuck!
The 944 Oil Pan Gasket.
What a fucking nightmare that was.
So
also, mine was the rear main seal is also a known fault.
So the description, $50 to $70 for the gasket, 8 to 14 hours of labor, 8 to 10 for a normally aspirated, 12 to 14 for the turbo.
Yeah, that sucks. Sucks so bad.
So is it huge, or what was so bad about it?
Oh God!
I suppose
the oil.
You might have a slightly different experience because they're talking about like pull. I assume you have to pull the engine.
We pulled the engine every time because I don't think you can just drop the pan because the engine sits
really
at a weird cockeyed angle.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can just pull that out. Well, like I know the rear main. If you don't have it in too far enough, it leaks. If you have it in too far, it leaks. Because, like, you know, most rear mains, you just put up there and then you, like, tap it in there evenly and then it bottoms. Or wherever the hell it's supposed to do. The 944, you don't bottom it, but you don't push, like, it's not flush to anything either. So it has to be slightly recessed, but not bottomed. Okay. If you get it wrong, it fucking leaks. And there's nothing you can do besides trial and error. It was a known thing. And it was like, we have a rear main seal leak. Oh, yeah, you have a 944. Okay. Total. Yep. Just roll the fucking dice. Maybe you'll get it. Maybe
one of these days you'll get it right.
Yep.
Or just put an LS in it.
We had other issues beyond that guaranteed it'd fail, but that we had almost no chance of it working anyways. So yeah. We pulled the engine for the original oil pan swap anyway. So I don't know having just the oil pan leak. But I imagine you probably have to do all the same things we did anyways.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, does it bring back bad memories?
Yes. So does that one-piece front clamshell.
Oh, yeah. Because that was only on that car.
That's not my problem. That's somebody else's problem.
Yeah,
someone listening to the podcast right now is cursing me because I think it's going to be a problem. But not my problem.
At least it's not
he's gorgeous.
That way from the factory.
No, that'd be terrible. I mean, it looks great.
Oh, it looks so race car. That car looked really good.
It still looks really good.
Well, yeah, okay, that's fair. That car looks really good.
Looks great. Would not love to have that as a one-piece front end on a track.
You just as well start finding body parts, Matt. Sorry, man.
And Eric. Sorry, Eric.
So, next up, one I'm intimately aware of. The Chevy Blazer fuel tank vent valve. So apparently there's a valve for letting like air pressure change in and out that plugs.
Yep.
And then the pressure will build up inside the fuel tank and ruin fuel pumps.
I wish the NPO1 only had that problem. The NPO1 has that exact same thing.
Yeah.
That if that little ball gets seized and it will not let the pressure out, mid-race, your fuel tank will expand.
Oh, good. Your bladder.
Your bladder will continue to expand until the aluminum shielding that's preventing the engine and the rest of the world from seeing your bladder will then touch the pulleys of your engine.
Oh, good.
Until there's a fucking hole.
Oh, good. Oh, and awesome. In your firewall. You want holes in your firewall?
Hole in your bladder.
Oh, okay.
Spilling fuel all over everything.
Your hot engine. That's good.
So that's good. If everyone's wondering, like, why are we working so hard on a car that we just took delivery of? preventing that shit from happening.
Yeah, it was built for sprint racing, not endurance racing.
So we have paid close attention to others' issues and have done what we could to prevent them from ours. But yes, fuel vent tank valves.
Yeah, so this guy goes into quite a write-up about how he had a 2000 four-wheel drive four-door, which is what I have as well. And he started with a Bird fuel pump, replaced it. A month later, it burns up. Finds out that it's somewhat normal for these, but then he started noticing that the fuel level was not reading accurately, which mine does not do either. And that the gas tank would suck air in sometimes when we remove the gas cap, which I've never noticed because I don't have a gas cap.
What?
Which might be saving me from burning up fuel pumps, Robbie.
It's just planning ahead, really.
Yeah, it's just good planning. I don't have a fuel tank cap.
You just got a lid? You just got the door?
Yeah, the door's shut. It's fine.
Is your check engine light always on?
Actually, no.
Is it old enough where it doesn't do that?
Probably.
I was going to say mine would. Well, I guess mine wouldn't because it has the safety thing. But like,
yeah,
the Avalanche
my work truck. Yeah, it doesn't have a lid.
You just shove it in there.
Yeah,
you don't
great.
You don't have to take anything off. You shove it in.
Just make sure you know where the funnel is for if you run it out of gas, because you can't just put a gas can in there. You got to have their fancy little funnel.
You got to keep the little funnel thing in.
Don't lose that.
Yep, you were gonna wish you had that.
Yep, found that out the hard way. Anyway, so then apparently replacement gas tank vents, not a thing. Turns out, though, that only the steel 19-gallon tanks used on the 98 and earlier Blazers or on two-door or two-wheel drive Blazers had replaceable vents. 99 and up four-doors use a plastic tank and the vent is integrated. And nobody makes the tanks.
Fuck. That sucks a lot.
So you have to find a used one.
Which means it's already used.
Or Robbie, you just don't use a gas lid, gas cap. It's fine.
Yeah, or you could drill a hole, put a bung, have a hose.
I mean, yeah, there's other options.
It's fine. It's fine.
So,
plus, if you're upside down and it's leaking out of that hose, you have bigger problems.
That's fair. It's definitely not going to rub a hole in, or I'm not going to have any engine pulley to gas tank contact in my vehicle, at least.
Yeah,
so
you got that going for you.
It's fine. So, second gen turbo MR2 coolant hose replacement.
I think second gen Toyota MR2 anything replacement should be on this list. I've heard nothing great about having to do service things to MR2s.
Yeah,
not to say that I don't want one. I'm just saying.
Apparently, there is a $5 coolant hose on the turbo model specifically that requires a complete engine out and removal of the turbo plus all the manifolds to replace it once it starts leaking.
There has to be a way to get to it without pulling the engine.
Yeah. An engine out service for a $5 coolant hose. That's some like Audi shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some mid-engine shit.
Yeah. Josh Jones, one of your teammates, has one of the wildest MR2 turbos I've ever seen.
It's my favorite.
And he does not use it enough.
He's doing NPL1 things.
Yeah.
Plus he has a Corvette.
I know he makes less sense than I do about his car choices. So that's the last one, though.
Oh, I thought there was one more.
Nope, I don't know why it says 12 slides.
Jobnik, you lied to me.
So, but yeah, a lot of those would really fucking suck.
Yeah, that'd be awful.
I also find it funny that there were vehicles that we're both intimately
fully
acquainted with,
fully aware
in there. So
yeah, we got a 944. Ooh. My condolences. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Johnny.
That's right. I remember.
Yeah, he knew what we were doing, and he was like, ew.
I remember when those were like cheap enough that they were really popular in Lemons.
Yeah.
Because like when Lemons first started, they were one of the most popular chassis in Lemons. And apparently like when they're low on like the swing in weight from a full tank to an empty tank is drastic enough in those that it will dramatically change the handling characteristics of the vehicle. And when it gets low, like under half, it becomes very tail happy, apparently.
Yeah. I believe that. Because like on the, I can't remember the exact number or what year. Let's just say I'm going to use fake numbers because I'm probably wrong.
That's fine.
And there's no one here to correct me.
Nobody comes here for factual podcasts.
The 944 came out in 1985.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So, but in 1989, the fuel tank was expanded to 23 gallons.
Yeah, okay.
Compared to the 20 gallons it had before.
Right? That seems
None of these numbers are correct.
There's no way it's that big.
It's fucking huge.
A 20-gallon fuel tank on a tiny little car like that? Absolutely.
I want to know.
That's crazy.
No, I think it's 91. 91.
There's no way, Robbie.
91,
that's insane.
Fuel capacity.
That's crazy talk.
21 gallons.
My God.
So, okay, I was fairly close. I was fairly close with my numbers. So, if you're running a 944 in endurance racing, you get the 1991 fuel tank.
Right.
Because it's 21 gallons.
It's huge.
Which would totally explain why the handling characteristics changed. Because 21 gallons is a lot of fucking fuel.
It is a lot of fuel. Yeah. Yeah. I remember reading about that somewhere.
Yep.
At one point, me and Josh Jones and Don Boss were pretty committed to like putting together a Lemons or Champ Car team, despite the fact that like between the three of us we had like 6 autocrosses under our belts.
That's where people start.
But like that just made sense to us.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
And so I researched a lot of the popular platforms fairly extensively, and that's one thing that for some reason sticks out in my mind still.
No, and I fully believe that it does change how it drives.
Yeah. So whatever.
Yeah. These 944 facts are brought to you by Petrobox. MyPetrobox.com. If you want to have a present delivered to your doorstep once a month full of, well, targeted cool shit, really. Just like car care products, dog leashes, shirts, just car guy stuff or car girl stuff. It just shows up every month, and it's the best.
It is.
And if you use the code TTP15, you get 15% off that first box. Or anything available in the store. Valentine's Day is coming up, and your girl would love to have some Petrobox gear, shirts, leashes. I don't know what your Valentine's Day...
Whoa, Robbie. Whoa, what are you getting?
Are you kink-shaming me?
No, I'm just saying, whoa, Robbie. This is a family show, remember?
No, it's not.
You're right. It's clearly not.
Valentine's Day is coming up, and they have leashes
Robbie's
and collars.
Sassy tonight.
That's why people come to the show, for my sass. Wait.
I mean, I feel like you're going to disgust at least one person.
No.
Somebody will kink
There
you,
is
Robbie.
no way that somebody made it this far in the show.
We haven't really got into, like, kink stuff.
Dog leashes and collars.
Yeah, but we've never used them in that. All you've talked about is caging people, which is a little strange.
I feel like cages and dog leashes go hand in hand.
I mean,
And if you want really great
that's
dog
definitely
leashes...
pretty far down the desensitized path that you were describing earlier.
See? I'm desensitized. So if you're desensitized... or if you have
advertising.
Woo! Or if you have a dog, I guess.
There you go. There you go, Robbie. What a novel concept. But not a cat. They get really upset when you talk about putting them on cats.
Don't put them on cats.
Apparently, there is a specific cat collar.
Yep. Which these are not. These are dog and people collars. No, it says right there, dog collars. It says dog. It says dog collar and dog leash.
I bet there's specific people collars too, Robbie. You get those on different sites.
Are you making fun of my sites?
No.
Okay. MyPetrobox.com. So yeah, Valentine's Day is coming up. If you want Petrobox gear for your loved one, use code TTP15.
Or tell your loved one to go there and buy you stuff. Maybe is probably the better move.
That's probably the smarter move. You should buy her. We're assuming most men are listening, and that's just
right.
Statistically speaking, we know we get the numbers. We are fully aware.
Yeah,
this is like Family Guy. We do the male side of the joke.
Sorry.
Yeah, so you send her to this site, and you go to the other site for the other things, except for the leashes, of course. They're here. MyPetrobox.com. I hope John appreciates that ad read.
we should have Adam and Eve see if they're sponsoring podcasts.
That'd be fucking awesome. I'll reach out. I'll start advertising porn on this site. I don't care.
Oh God. Should we talk about other stuff?
No, I want to talk about porn.
No, I don't want to talk about that. Oh, man. That's... Yikes.
I want to talk about being desensitized. Let's do that.
No, Robbie. My parents listen to this, Robbie.
Mine too.
Yeah, but
They're aware of me.
you must have a different relationship with your parents.
I have a great relationship with my parents.
I'm sure you do.
I'm very open.
No.
I am as open as I am on the podcast. This is how I speak to my mother as well.
I'll bet not.
You want to bet?
I'll bet it's worse.
That's fair. I'm probably even more open with
That's
my mother.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I have a great relationship with my mom, and I don't really sugarcoat anything. So,
Speaking of my parents, I finally got to go down to my parents' house this weekend and see the Tempest.
yes. It's missing some paint on the hood.
Yes. So the previous owner managed to find a fiberglass hood and trunk, which did not exist at the time that my dad was racing this car, because they're still not popular drag car platforms, but they were much less so at the time, apparently.
Really?
As a factory car, since they use like the torque tube and the transaxle, they don't have a trans tunnel.
Okay.
It's not as simple as just putting a big engine in it and taking it drag racing.
That's a lot of fab work.
And so they're not popular drag racing platform at all.
Okay.
Like they just don't work very well unless you put them on a tube chassis.
Yeah, I'll say unless you do this,
which is what he did. And actually, the first one that he had when I was really small was converted from a street car and was all cut up and and I had a cage welded inside of it and stuff like that.
Okay.
And apparently, the doors that are on this car were the doors that were on that car as well. And like they've been on a race car since like the 70s.
Ha. Neat.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the previous owner found fiberglass hood and deck lid. He put the hood on, took the scoop off of the original hood and put it on this one, but hasn't gotten it painted yet. So it's just got the body work done to it, and it's got some primer on it, but it needs reprimed and repainted. And then he didn't do anything with the trunk, and the trunk is like a one-person removal deal. Like it's been the frame inside of it's been removed, cut off. It's just the skin.
It's to weigh nothing, right?
It's just the skin, and like I'll bet you there's less than a half a pound difference between the glass and the steel trunk lids.
Yep.
So my dad has no intention of using it.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't either then.
So
forget that.
But the hood was definitely heavier, and this is definitely lighter. And so right now, what my dad's plan is to just paint it yellow, so that it matches the rest of the car, but won't have any of the tear graphics in it, which the hood originally did, but none of those tear graphics spilled onto any of the fenders.
Yep.
So you won't know that it's not the way it was.
Okay.
And then the trunk lid doesn't have any on it anyway. So if he really wanted to, he could just have the trunk lid painted blue.
Yeah,
and it'd be fine.
Be done with it.
Right. So, but yeah, I got to see the car. I did not get to hear it run. It is not current. My dad has torn it apart enough already that it is not in running shape anymore.
Is the guy that painted this originally still painting cars? Because that'd be kind of cool to like bring it back around.
So it was painted in Sac City, Iowa,
Yep.
which is where we lived at the time, at just a regular body shop.
Yep.
But the guy that owned it was friends with my dad, and he was into racing. And I don't know if he painted it or if his son painted it. I'm sure he's retired by now.
Oh, yeah, probably.
I don't know if it's... But like... And I suggested that to my dad as well, but he said, no, I'm just going to take it to the body guy I have now.
That's fair. It'd be good for the story, but I get it.
So there's a couple other things about this car that he's like clearly not me.
Okay.
So like,
because you'd want to restore it to its like former glory and like.
Well, so Dad's still like, or he's still like, oh, it's just a race car.
It's a car.
Like
it's just like any other car.
Because you can't really see it here in this picture because I didn't take close-ups of it, but there's some bubbling on the lower front of the passenger side door that's clearly rusting.
Oh, no.
Underneath. And I was like, Dad, you got to get that fixed. And he's like, no. No, I don't. And then on the passenger side, on the top of the fender, I guess the guy has he had an enclosed trailer. You can kind of see it in this picture.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it almost looked like there was some damage on
so
the...
he has an enclosed trailer that my dad actually bought in the deal.
Nice.
But it didn't have a winch in it. He was driving this car on and off of the trailer every time, which is just dumb to me. Just buy a winch.
I drive on and off sometimes.
Good for you, Robbie.
The only time I don't is when it's broken.
Well, I still think that it's kind of dumb to drive cars into enclosed trailers.
It's fine.
You couldn't open the door and get in and out.
You know what he needs?
Even with Lambos, dude, the car is fucking 3 inches off the ground. That thing is hot boy height.
I will admit it's very pain in the ass to get in and out.
Just winch the damn thing in and out and be done with it. But one of the times that he was driving it into, I believe, he rubbed against the steel cable for the door and peeled a bunch of the paint off of the corner of the top of the fender, and there's like a body line that runs down the center of the door and onto the front fender right behind the front wheel, and there's some scrape there too.
Oh, shoot.
And I was like, you got to get that fixed. He's like, I don't think I do. And I'm like, bro.
At least when you get the hood painted, get some touch-up paint made.
That's what he said, too. And I was like, no, that's not good enough. You need to, like, have your guy just fix it right, Dad. Like, just fix it. He's like, nah, just touch it up. Like, no, because it'll look like crap.
It'll look better than what it does, especially if they paint match it. Because he'll paint match the hood. Then you can have him make a jar of touch-up.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
The other thing that, like, I actually don't think I would fix that you can tell is wear and tear on this car is that originally all of the tears in the paint scheme, which if you're not watching this on YouTube and you've never seen the pictures, I've got a bunch of pictures on my Instagram you can look at.
Yep.
But the tears on this one were outlined in orange and black, like pinstriping.
Yes, like hand done,
like
right?
hand pinstriped. And there's a lot of places where that orange has faded drastically.
It really has.
To the point where in some of them it's almost not even there anymore.
It's kind of pink.
And I actually kind of dig it.
Yeah.
I fight with myself, like this is my car and I have any control of it. But I fight with myself on like, do I want to leave it a little bit old? Because like the car's been like this for 20 years. Or do I want to, fix it to pristine? And I kind of like that enough that I don't think I would fix it if I were in control of the world.
If
I wouldn't fix that.
If that was my car and I wasn't like going through the entire painting of the whole thing, wouldn't bother. I'd leave it.
I agree with him not doing any of the tear graphics on the hood and just painting it one color.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm fine with that. He's not going to paint the hood scoop, which has tear graphics on it.
Correct.
That's going to stay that way.
Just going to blend it.
Just blend it and then paint the hood yellow. That I'm totally fine with.
Yeah.
But yeah. Dude, seeing it was...
A moment. Did you have a moment?
No, I managed to keep myself together. But, man, it's so exciting. The first thing I did was
I can't believe that it's...
The first thing I did was get in it, and my son was with me.
Yep.
So, like, he sat on my lap, and he sits in it, it was just so cool to see him be excited about it, just like I was when I was his age.
That poor kid never had a chance.
He's been, like, even before we went and saw this, like, the last, say, month or so, he's been... This is going to cost me a ton of money. He's been talking a lot about racing lately.
Nice.
Yeah.
You poor
and,
bastard.
like, when he plays on his iPad, when he's playing games, a lot of the times he wants to play racing games. And he's asking me a lot about cars. And, like... It's going to cost me so much money.
Have you looked into shifter carts lately?
The thing is, like, there's not a fucking place to do them around here.
There's a surprisingly large number of people that do it, though.
Circle track dirt kart racing?
I think you'd be surprised.
I don't think I would be.
Isn't that one semi-local that one guy was trying to tell us to go to?
That Route 34 place?
Is that the one?
It's like 4.5 hours away.
It's fine. We travel way further for track stuff.
I know, but like,
it's fine. You can't just have it in your backyard all the time, Adam.
I wish Marshalltown was still a thing.
That would be a financial disaster for us.
Dude, like, serious, like, real talk.
Yeah.
If Marshalltown was still a go-kart track and was still...
An autocross track?
No, still operating as wheel-to-wheel go-kart racing...
You'd for sure have a go-kart.
You and I would both be in shifter carts right now.
Oh, yeah. I would have started there.
Right.
I would have done autocross and started there.
And we probably would have never done any of this other stuff.
I still think I would have wanted to.
And I don't like a fucking 1992 Dodge panel van that I'm piling go-karts into the back of. And driving 30 minutes one way to the racetrack.
And you just go home at night.
Yeah. I get up at a reasonable time of day, drive to the track, race all damn day, and sleep in my own bed. Robin.
Shower and go to bed.
I'm home by 9:30, which is a little late for me, bedtime-wise, but definitely a number I can handle on a Saturday evening.
It has been that way for me lately.
Wouldn't that be
the
best?
That'd be great.
You buy a set of tires like twice a season, and a whole set costs you like
$13.
$120, Robbie. A whole set. Yep. You buy like 2 a season.
Yep.
You put like 3 gallons of gas in it a weekend.
Yeah, we were talking about how we're gonna like hold the barrels of fuel for Nola. He's like, "Hey, is it okay if we like build things in your trailer?" I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." How many do we need? Like 3 barrels?
My experience with the Neon was that we used way more fuel than we thought we would.
Yep, 3 barrels. That's what we're bringing.
Nola's a lot of like foot to the floor.
It's a
for a long period of time.
It's a wide open track.
Yeah,
it's bumpy as all hell, but I know the track pretty well. I've done. Yeah. I did a shitload of sim time in it before one lap, like the original year, and then we had a whole year.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
So then I did it again the following spring, and then I actually drove it, and then we've done some more sim stuff since. And it's like I mean, it's not the most exciting track in the world, but it's cool.
Yeah. So.
Man, that poor kid never had a chance, though.
I know, right? It's so bad. I'm super excited about it. Don't get me wrong.
Don't worry. Everyone's going to show you locally where there's shifter carts for sale, as well as places to go. So that's nice.
There's not places, though, because Josh Jones wanted to do this stuff, and like all he could find was dirt circle track racing.
Well, what are the Kellys doing?
I don't have any idea.
That's what they're doing.
I don't know if that's true or not.
That's a rumor. That's what they posted on the gram.
Oh, I don't follow them in any capacity.
I guess I don't. The rumor would be that they're not doing GLTC and they're only shifter karting. But I know they're doing at least one of them, and it appears to be they're shifter karting as well. I would assume they're probably doing both, but they're for sure shifter karting too.
I don't know, man.
So wherever they're going, you can follow. There's got to be other people. They did it at St. Louis when we were there. They had like a shitload of people.
That's not close by, Robbie.
It's not that far. It's like a.
I know, but I don't want to do that for my kid.
You know, Lewis Hamilton's dad got a second mortgage on his house.
Good for Lewis Hamilton. Nobody cares what Lewis Hamilton's dad did.
Don't you want your son to be great?
No. I want him to be mediocre in most everything that he's involved in. Are you kidding me?
He could be the next Lewis Hamilton.
He could be, but he won't.
He might be.
He's already behind the curve, Robbie.
Like the rest of us. I was talking to Dusty today about our biggest faults are that we weren't born into wealthy families.
Yeah. Yeah, I had this conversation with my parents yesterday. That's absolutely a thing I talked to them about.
Yeah, the reason I'm not in Formula 1 right now is because my parents aren't billionaires.
Well, the reason I don't live in a big fancy house is because my parents won't put half down for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm convinced that's what most people do.
Yeah.
You're in a slightly different situation, and I understand. But I know that that's got to be the situation for other people.
Millennials, fuck yeah, dude.
Like, I know people who are like, he makes roughly what I make. She doesn't work. They have 3 kids. They drive brand new vehicles, and they live in a $300,000 house. Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit, Robbie.
There was help.
Lots of it.
It happens.
So, anyway, this popped into my head when we started talking about NOLA, and I found it here.
Yeah.
You need to run a 149.7 or faster.
The D. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You're getting detuned a whole bunch.
Last year's pole position was a 147.
What was that?
An NPO one.
Okay.
Unrestricted.
Okay.
So a restricted one would
Oh,
be.
you probably won't run that.
Yeah, but 149 is probably not.
Because if you can do that, you'll be faster than Dalton.
I mean, that's kind of the times that we're expecting to be around. Because if 147 was pole last year, the NPO one, and we're only going to be pulling out not that much horsepower.
Okay.
Because we're trying, 149. Got it.
149.7s.
My practice times on Assetto Corsa with the Praga R1, which is a slightly faster carbon fiber NPO one, basically.
Yeah.
So I kept I was like 144s, 143s, 144s, and then I did like a sim race like against AI, and like Booney and I were kind of like battling back and forth, like sending each other pictures of like, oh, high score, did I break it? And like we're hovering around like the 145s, 144s, 145s. Then I did a race and did a 142 mid race, and I sent it like, apparently I can't be doing driving by myself anymore.
You've proven this is a thing for you.
Qualifying, not my thing. Time attack, not my thing. Put me in a race, I'll cut 3 seconds off my time.
That's weird. It's very weird.
I need that motivation. I need the rabbit.
Yeah.
I can get you right there.
Yeah.
I can get that.
So anyway, the Tempest, we got it up on the lift this weekend. So it was the first time that he was able to see underneath it.
Clean?
Yeah, it looks like it's all there and in good shape. I think it might need like gaskets all the way around the world on it. Yeah. Like there was some seepage on even like the rear diff.
That wouldn't. Because that's like the paper gasket stuff.
Well, and the rear diff that's in there is the one he sold it with.
Oh yeah.
So apparently, I didn't realize this. I was a little bit wrong on this. It wasn't. It was sold as a roller, but he didn't sell it. It had a block. It had a short block in it.
Okay.
It didn't have heads or an intake, but it had the block and the rotating assembly.
Okay.
And the block that's in it is the block that he sold it with.
No shit.
It's not the same rotating assembly, and it's obviously different heads because he didn't sell it with heads.
Right.
And the trans that's in it is not the same trans, but the rear end of the block are the same ones he sold it with.
No shit.
Which is super cool.
That is, yeah. That's cool that basically everything he sold came back.
Yeah. So I got to looking at it a little bit. It's cool because that is a full tube chassis. So like with a lot of these drag cars, you can go and buy a chassis from a chassis builder, right? And it's not specific to any car. It's like a wheelbase.
Yeah, yeah.
You just buy a wheelbase length, and then they build you this or they give you the parts, and he had somebody else weld it all together for him, and then I think the fab guy hung the body. But like it's literally like tabs and tacks and stuff like that. It's not
right.
Like the body could be cut off. It'd have to be cut off, but it could be removed.
Neat.
And you can put
anything
else on it. Like it's, so, the front clip can be removed in one piece. The fenders and the grill section can all be removed in one piece. They're bolted together, Robbie.
Nice.
Smart. Yeah.
Thinking ahead.
Yeah. But, it's just like 2 bolts on the bottom and some Zeus fasteners on, and then you can see right there in the picture you've got right in front of the radiator, there's a bar that goes across and ties both fenders together. You just pull 2 pins and the whole thing lifts off.
Nice. That's how it should be.
Like it's off in
quick, easy, done.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Tops.
Oh, 5 seconds.
So the engine is mid. It's mid front engine.
Yeah, I see that.
The entire engine is behind the center of actually, this is funny. It's behind the center of one of the wheels. So apparently the wheels are a little bit staggered.
What? Why?
The front wheels are a little bit staggered front to back.
On purpose?
For rollout of the lights when you're staged.
Oh.
So you can leave that much sooner without red lighting. So you can be out the gate that much sooner and not screw yourself. But you can be moving that much sooner.
No shit.
Like that's the level of dumb that drag racing can be.
That's wild. Huh.
Yeah.
So so it's kind of like working on a F-body Trans Am where the half the engine is under the firewall.
There's a cowl, the factory cowl that used to be one piece that was just part of the unibody structure.
Yep.
And my dad obviously cut that off and mounted it on the car. And that can be removed, and then you can get to everything. The distributor's
Nice.
a little bit hard to get to.
That's like right next to the firewall.
Yeah, but
Okay.
if you really had to, the trans tunnel is just Zeus fastened. The aluminum that covers the trans tunnel is just Zeus fastened in there, and you can remove most of that and get to the back of the engine from there.
That's how everything should be.
Dude, it's so good.
That's how it always should
Because
be.
that is a full-fledged race car. I mean, that's all that it can be.
Everything should be trapdoors and easy to get to.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's
So-
the more I work on the Z, the more trapdoors it's going to get. Just that's how it's going to go.
Because now you've
Yeah.
experienced what it's like to work on a real race car.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not going to take this 10 things off to get to that one thing. No,
Right.
trapdoors.
Yeah, we're
everything.
gonna cut a hole in it. Yeah. Done with this shit.
I'm fucking doing that twice.
No, I'm with you on that one. So, my dad decided he didn't want to deal with the hassle of alcohol because he's never ran alcohol before, and it uses an insane amount.
And he's not. I mean, he's doing bracket racing.
Yeah, he's doing bracket
So it doesn't
racing.
benefit
And
him to gain that.
We're guessing that it's probably going to be a half second or less lost.
Seems like a lot of.
It's still way faster than it was when he sold it.
Well, with alcohol, don't you think you told me this that you have to like change the oil? Like,
Yeah,
all
that's
the
like
fucking time? Yeah.
change the oil every weekend.
I mean, I do that anyways, but that's different.
Well, yeah, but you put way more runtime on your engine than my dad does
Right.
in a drag race. If he does well,
Yeah, it's like
he'll do 8 to 10 9-second passes.
right.
You know? So,
Yeah. I'd be
hugely
I'd be
different.
curious what the maintenance differences are. Obviously, the higher, like because like Formula or not Formula,
Top fuel.
top fuel
Yeah,
cars,
they tear
they
the engines down
every-
between runs.
Yeah,
So,
it's like a $12,000 pass or whatever. But
so I think, if
like
I
it.
remember right, when I was younger, in the off season, he'd pull the front end off and just like kind of tear the motor down. I don't even know that he pulled it out of the car.
just okay.
And just kind of check everything.
Yeah,
Pull the heads off, check clearances and tolerances, and if it needed rebuilt, then rebuild it, but probably not. At the time, he was running factory heads that were like poured and polished and built, but they were original heads. Now it's got like the biggest, baddest, highest flowing aluminum heads that you can buy for a Pontiac.
okay.
Which they're a deal. They're quite the deal. It's got a Canton Racing oil pan on it that he didn't sell it with.
Those are nice.
Yeah.
Those are nice
That's
pans.
new. With a nice sump, and I assume it's probably got trapdoors and stuff in it, which it was not a thing before.
No.
So, but yeah, he got a regular fuel carburetor, and he's gonna just switch that stuff out. There's so much other
Yeah.
stuff going on with the car, and just getting back into the flow of things, and the fact that it is still a faster car than he's ever had before.
Yep.
That like learning that is not something he needs to deal with right now.
No, unless you're chasing after a very specific goal that required it,
Right.
I wouldn't mess.
So
it up.
there are some classes that they're still bracket racing, but they have a min time that you're trying to run every single pass.
Yep.
Like say a 890,
Okay.
right? Because that's usually where it's at. It's like an 890 or 790 or something like that. They have an index class.
Gotcha.
And like the goal is to run that time without going too fast.
Okay.
And then that kind of stuff kind of matters. But
Right.
like in the bracket racing that he's doing, technically he could run 18-second passes and be competitive against cars running 9s.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to be that guy.
No, definitely not.
But like that's the way bracket racing works, which is kind of brilliant. And I wish that there was a way that we could bracket race road racing, but you just can't do it. So, but yeah, there's a bunch of little, like it's got a bunch of electronics on it that I think my dad's probably going to get rid of.
Instead of doing the track battle like shootout thing they do, where they chase each other and whatever, that should be a bracket race.
Yeah, I think they should have a dial in.
And then it's just the closest.
Whoever's the closest without going over.
Fucking love it.
That's what I thought it was.
We can't have any data. Like you can't have a lap timer.
No,
It has to be.
I'm good with that.
I
like that idea a lot.
Yeah, like not even an apex.
No, nothing. You get nothing.
Right.
You are not allowed to have any form of feedback, data, whatever.
Right. If you have like an aim dash,
nope.
There's a GoPro on the dash and we're watching you.
That needs to be shut off. Yep. Or that part of it needs to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
I like that.
It would be cool to do something like that.
Either they're all aiming for the same time, or they're all trying to match their own time, and whoever's the closest each time gets to continue on.
Right.
I like it.
Without
Adam
going faster.
Exactly. Adam Jabay, listen here. We are fixing track battle.
Right. No.
What did I say?
Just bracket battles.
Oh yeah, sorry. That's what I meant.
They call it bracket, which they haven't done in like 2 years.
I want the bracket battles to be
okay
what I
with
just described.
I'm okay with them not doing.
They don't have time for that now. There's 300 drivers at every event.
That ain't no shit. That ain't no shit. So, one of the other big things that this apparently has a vacuum scavenging system installed on it that it didn't have on it before.
Okay.
That I guess my dad has been told by multiple people that that's good for like multiple tenths.
No shit.
And I think the guy that he bought it from said that it made the car more consistent, which is something my dad really fought when he was racing it.
Right.
So I don't know exactly what it does. It scavenges vacuum.
That's as good of a description as I can think of.
I don't know. He's going to have to figure that all out too. So, I don't know. There's a couple of little things that the guy changed that my dad's like, I don't know why he would have done this. And I'm like, I kind of see some of them. I'm fine with the others. But like, so one of the things my dad has always done with a lot of his project cars, even not just the race car, but like project cars, is he's put a start button under the hood.
Oh, for like when he's doing diagnostic stuff.
Right. Yeah. And the guy pulled that out. And I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah, why would you take it out? If
it's the
already there?
best.
Yeah, if it's already there, leave
it's
it.
so good.
Yeah.
It's like you just hit the carburetor and hit the button, fires right off.
And now you have to call a friend and have them go hit the button?
Yeah, or you got to climb in there and start it and then come around to the front. No, man, you just hit the button.
Huh.
He pulled that out. So my dad has to put it back in.
Yeah, why would you take the time to even bother?
I don't know.
All right, whatever.
So it needs a rewire. It's rough.
Yes, I saw the wiring was kind of all over the place. I just assumed he was mid.
He's friends with Dalton.
It does seem to be like feet of extra wire.
Well, some of that is my dad like rewiring. In process, but some of it's also like the way it was. So
I'm assuming that this is exactly as the guy ran it after Dalton wired it.
Yeah. So
why? Here, I have a question.
Yeah.
Why is there 2 interstate batteries?
The car used to not have an alternator.
But wouldn't an alternator still be less weight than that battery's?
Oh, well, there's a min weight.
Oh, so it's ballast.
In the class anyway.
Okay.
So it didn't really matter.
That'd be a good way to get ballast for WRL. We have like 8 batteries. Why?
We don't want to run out of power.
Yeah.
If our alternator dies, we can get 12 laps before the car dies.
I want to finish the race.
Yeah.
Spec Miatas don't run alternators either. Same idea.
No, he didn't run it. Originally, there is an alternator on it now. He actually had an alternator on it when he sold it. But for a long time, I remember like that was my job. Was there were like 2 posts on the back underneath the hood or underneath the trunk lid, and when he would pull in after a race, I had to hook up the battery charger.
Yep.
Because it was a lossless system. It had no alternator. So. I guess it's a power thing.
Oh, so I'm like looking at like why is he not have his ground?
Because he's rewiring.
He's working in the car.
Yeah, so it's all unhooked. Yeah.
I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, it's
never
all
mind.
unhooked.
We're good.
So, one thing that the previous owner added that my dad really likes is when the trunk lid is on the car, right over the fuel cell. There's like a fuel door hinge or like a hinged fuel door on the trunk lid. So you can open that up, and then you can pull the gas off the fuel cell, or pull the lid off the fuel cell, put a funnel in there, and fill it up without having to pull the trunk lid off.
That's nice.
Which is
trapdoors.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's like brushed aluminum, and I fucking hate it.
Do you have a picture of it?
No, I didn't have a picture of it. But it's like brushed aluminum.
It doesn't match.
And I'm like, can we paint it blue? And Dad's like, no, I don't care that much. I'm like, no, dude, you got to paint it. It looks dumb.
Yeah. I know a way to make him paint it. Just take a stencil of the 1010s podcast logo and just like spray paint it across it. Your dad will paint it after that, I promise.
Jesus. I just don't. It's like
I'll send some. I'll send some
so
blue.
much.
I'll send some blue 10 Tenths podcast stickers with you next time. So you just start slapping them on it, or, all Booney style, where you can't. We know they're there, but he doesn't know they're
Jesus. So yeah, I don't know. It was everything I hoped it would be. It's. I mean, it's rough around the edges, and that's fine.
As
But,
it should.
I'm very excited that it's back in the family. So, my dad found it weird that I was like texting everybody
About
and
it.
like that I made a post and that there's been like 130 likes on Facebook and I don't even know how many on Instagram. And he's just like, I don't understand why people care. And I'm like, well, first of all, Dad,
Instagram famous.
I do a podcast and like
It's a big deal.
this is things that people follow and like for whatever reason, like I don't get it either. But like, and secondly, like there's a lot of people that from my past that remember this car that might not even be podcast listeners that like, oh my God, I can't believe it's back again.
Oh yeah, I mean that's not a common story.
No,
I'm not even the story guy, and I totally appreciate the story that
it's
this car
so
has.
cool. It's so cool. I'm so excited about it. So
Pretty
yeah.
awesome. Does he have specific plans for it? Like the next race is in 17 weeks, and he's got.
Well, so the track, his local track, which is only like a 20-minute drive away. So fucking
that'd be nice, right?
Wouldn't that be amazing, Robbie? They do like Wednesday night testing tunes,
That'd be nice.
and it's like this will really trip your trigger, Robbie. It's like $20 or something dumb, or $40. I don't know. Like
Whatever, dude.
It's an insignificant amount of money, and like it's lapping day essentially. Like you can just
Open passing.
Yeah.
Or open passes. Not
yeah,
passing.
just
but,
do as many as you want. Just loop the thing if you want to do it. Like you don't even have to pull into the pit. Just
Keep going.
as long as you're not overheating, go for another round.
If no one's lined up, you just keep going.
Yeah. And so, which is really frustrating. Drag racing and circle track racing,
Don't get me started on circle track racing. That makes way too much sense.
it's so much cheaper.
It does. Not always.
Well, no, but like from an entry fee point of view and like a travel, the amount of money we spend just to go,
Oh yeah.
circle track is so much cheaper.
Plus, they give out like $2,000 purses on a Tuesday night. The fuck are we doing?
There's like $100,000 to win front wheel drive races that are only a few hours away from us. Apparently, well, I don't know about maybe they're 10,000. I don't remember.
It's
But, like,
still good.
They're like thousands of dollars more than any prize that I've ever. The only time attack series that I've ever heard of having a cash prize was speedering.
Yep. No, it's like I bought my Hans device off some circle track guy.
Yeah.
Like I met him in a parking lot at McDonald's because he was on his way to a race.
Yeah.
On a Tuesday.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, we got this whatever race. Winner gets $2,000. I'm like, bro, it's Tuesday.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's cool. We'll be home by 9. It's whatever.
yeah,
And then the guy I bought my trailer from.
Yeah.
Kinda the same thing. He's like, yeah, I wanted a trailer so I can go racing this weekend. I want to get, I could get this big ass trophy. And I'm like, I don't get any big ass trophies. My biggest trophy is this best dressed one. I didn't even
we
win
didn't
it.
even win that technically.
I stole it.
Yeah, it's dumb, isn't it?
Yeah.
There was years ago, apparently Jabbay's like cousin or something like that. He's a front wheel drive circle track racer.
Yep.
And years ago, they did a podcast with him. And dude, I'm sitting here listening to this like, this is why am I not doing that?
Yeah. Everything that we're doing is dumb, and everything he's doing
And
is smart.
I'm on a couple of front wheel drive racing classifieds that's what they are, is circle track. Dude, you can buy like won the season championship last year, put fluids in it and go racing tomorrow for like $6,000. And that's like a really expensive one.
Racing's stupid. This is a stupid hobby for stupid boys and girls.
Road racing especially.
Yeah, road racing.
Road
for
racing
sure.
especially. Yeah. You know how far away the closest dirt track is?
Like 15 minutes.
Maybe.
I could like throw a football to it, I'm sure.
It's like when I was growing up in Kansas, when this car was originally built, the
Yeah.
Tempest, there was like 6 drag tracks in 2 hours from where we were living or something dumb, right? And that's the way we are here with dirt tracks.
Oh yeah, like living in Northwest Iowa, every other town has a dirt track.
Right. The only thing that we have more of than dirt tracks is golf courses.
Yes.
We have
every time
Iowa has the most golf courses per capita of any state in the country. That's a true statistic.
I believe that.
That's a real
every town has one.
Yeah, every
small town in Iowa.
If it has 2,000 people or more in it, they have a golf course.
Yes.
At least a golf course. If not two.
Yes.
Yeah. Which means that there's a metric fuck ton of golf courses in Iowa.
And they cost nothing to go to.
And the only
That's
thing that maybe there's more of is dirt tracks.
Because every town has one of those too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And you know what we do?
It's shocking that
we road race, and the closest one is 3 hours away, and they haven't had an organized race there in years, Robbie.
Nope.
Years.
Nope. We had an organized time attack there this year.
An organized wheel to wheel.
I don't want to talk about it. That's a sore subject for me.
I'm well aware.
And I'm not going to talk about it on the show. I'm not going to talk about it on the show.
It's better that you don't.
Yeah, I don't want to burn any bridges. It is kind of shocking though that we didn't get into more dirt stuff. Like I've never driven on a dirt track.
I've never driven one either.
But it's weird that you would think that opportunity would have presented itself way faster than anything we've already done.
I guarantee you there's arrive and drive options if you want to go do one, and it'll probably cost you like $200, and it'd probably be the most fun you've ever fucking had.
Well,
in your
I've had
life.
Ben Solom's offered to get me in a car.
Well, there's people who live a whole lot closer than Ben that have cars.
I need to do this. I need to know. I need to find a new kink.
One of these weekends that you're back home visiting your parents, if it lines up, I need to go up there as well so that we can go to the figure 8 races in Primgar.
I'm
because that will change your life.
Jess is from Missouri. She'll love it.
Dude, it will change your life. It's a racetrack with an intersection.
I've wanted to do this forever.
I know, but it never lines up.
Pick the weekend.
Yeah,
I'll make it work.
I need to find their calendar. See if
it's on a holiday, I'll be there because that's for sure the only time I'm not racing.
Yeah, right.
Or if it's a weekend that I don't have to take work off to get there, I am in.
Well, it's Saturday nights.
I'm in.
So it doesn't. We don't have to take work off.
I'm only allowed to do 2-day vacations this year.
Yeah.
So
that's a 2-day. It's a down and back thing.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm totally.
You can go visit your parents.
Yep.
And watch what is arguably the most insane racing you'll ever watch.
Yeah, I want that. I want that real bad.
Because, I know we've talked about this before, but, for the people who haven't heard this, the figure 8 track in Primgar, which is this tiny little town, fucking 30 minutes from my hometown, 45 minutes from Robbie's hometown.
Yep.
I went there almost every weekend for a long time when I was in high school because my dad's had a whole bunch of friends that race there. And, most places that have figure 8 tracks, they just do, they do one of the figure 8 races during Fair Week, right?
Yep.
Where normally it's a circle track and then they just throw this in. That is this track's only configuration.
Figure 8.
Right. So,
man.
And a lot of these guys, that's the only track they race at. And so they're really, really good at it. And it's, dude, it's so nerve-wracking.
That's the sitting on the edge of your seat, your heart pumping.
Yeah.
The whole
You paid for the whole seat,
time.
but you won't use all of it.
Yeah, I want that.
Dude, it's nuts.
It's the last lap of a close race feeling.
They're doing
the
60
thing.
through that intersection simultaneously.
Until they're not.
Honestly, the racing is better when they don't crash.
I think if you go through an entire race and there's no crash, you're just sitting there going how?
Yeah.
How did you do this?
Yeah, no, it's beyond wild. But when there's a crash, chances are the people who crashed into each other, their wives and children are in the stands, and she's probably in tears. It's stupid emotional. It gets real dumb.
It's kind of funny though because it's not an if, it's a when.
It gets real dumb there.
Most racetracks, I assume, have the required single ambulance, but circle track kind of has to assume they're going to need maybe 2 or 3.
Well, and then by the time you get to the A main, for the feature for the night.
Right.
Like not only are those guys all warmed up and ready to fucking rumble, but like they're the best ones.
Yeah.
Dude, it's the most intense racing on the planet. It's better than GLTC. I said it.
It's probably better than everything, man. You're not going to offend me by saying that. It sounds like it's the best thing in the world. I've wanted to watch figure eight since forever.
It's so wild. So, yeah.
No, I want figure eights in my life. Maybe there's my desensitized kink.
The picture you pulled up, 3-hour enduro, figure eight enduro.
The winner gets $20,000.
A 3-hour figure eight race. Look at this. The safety trucks are on the course.
Smart. There's like so that's this side looking at the picture. On the other side where the camera's being shot from, there's like 3 ambulances.
Just sitting there on.
They're there. They're on course too.
Yeah, ready to go. One of them's a NASCAR truck. Circle track racing is where it's at, right?
All right, so
we're doing this wrong.
So it goes autocross, HPDE, time attack, GLTC,
figure eight racing.
WRL.
Oh, okay.
Then I got to figure out what's in the middle, and then my final like desensitized kink is figure eight racing. I think we figured it out. My progression.
That's fair.
Somebody want to take me figure eight racing like right now?
I
can't afford to do it, and I don't have the time to do it. But
I don't think they've put out.
Offer it to me. I want to
put
go.
Out their schedule for the year yet.
If you live near me and you're going to a figure eight race, call me. I will go. If you live not near me and you're going to a figure eight race, call me anyways. I want to know. Take me with you.
Primgar, Iowa JC's figure eight race page on Facebook. Let's see if they have a 2022 schedule out. Nope. Last time they said anything was September of 2021.
Dang it.
So,
I mean, it's coming, though.
Hopefully.
Nice.
I mean, COVID doesn't exist there because it's a small town in Iowa.
Small town Iowa.
So they definitely are not.
They're over it.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
They're over it.
Yeah.
Well, leave it at that.
So, that's all I got, Robbie.
All right. So we should probably wrap up the show.
Yeah.
I got to remind everybody, head over to Apex Pro or ApexTrackCoach.com for your Apex Pro, the official motorsports app of 1010's podcast. So if you are thinking about getting into data, if you do track days, drifting, autocross, like if you do a lot of stuff like on track and you want to learn a little bit more about yourself and the track, Apex Pro, their app will let you do that for free.
I'd be interested in getting one of these in a dirt car.
Remember how you talked about like using it as a drift thing? Andrew's kind of proven that that's a thing.
I know. That's why I said
this would be good in a drift.
I commented on there when you introduced drift mode. That was like Need for Speed Underground 2.
Yep.
Where the more angle you get, the more points you get.
Yep.
I want credit.
I feel like that's fair. Because you heard it here first.
Like 3 years ago.
Yep. But yeah, if you are doing any sort of track day stuff with your car and you want to get it to data, and just use your phone. Use the Apex Pro app. You can... it uses the sensors in your phone, so it's not quite as accurate as the actual unit, but it's free. So it'll give you an idea of where you're losing time, give your lap times, stuff like that, and then you can make your own tracks. I mean, so if you're doing autocross, you can do your start and stop points, and it builds the track for you.
Yeah.
So
ice racing. That's a thing people do here.
People do that. You can build your own tracks on ice racing.
Yeah.
ApexTrackCoach.com. Use the code 1010 to get 10% off when you get a unit, Gen 2 unit, and a window mount. Or if you're looking to save a little bit of money, and you could get a Gen 1, which doesn't have quite the capabilities of a Gen 2, you could get that on their shop, just on their website. That's ApexTrackCoach.com. Adam.
Robbie.
I feel it's time for a hot take.
Okay.
I had one picked out, and I decided I don't want to do that one anymore.
Okay. Did you come up with a different one?
Yeah, I got a different one. But
oh, okay. Oh, Jesus.
All right.
You're going to make me...
Yep.
You fucking suck.
Adam.
Robbie.
When you get French fries at a restaurant, how do you eat them? Do you, A, have the fry... Well, for this example, we'll say fries on the plate and a ketchup separate. Or do you put the fries on the plate and then slather them in ketchup?
If I was a ketchup user, which I'm not.
Barbecue, mustard,
But if I wasn't,
whatever you use.
I would absolutely do A for one shining reason, Robbie. I am very much the type of person who eats one thing and then moves to the next and then moves to the next and prefers that they don't intermingle. And that's you're taking like a plate of French fries and covering them all in ketchup, far too cross-contaminated.
I will completely agree with that. I don't like it to contaminate unless it's food that like I'm gonna like it's all like.
Well, I mean,
like my Asian food, I'll like mix all the rice and stuff.
That's how you're supposed to.
Yep. But if it's something I'm dipping with my fingers, it can't be slathered. It has to be separate. So French fries do not get slathered because I eat them with my fingers.
Yeah.
The only time there's the exception to the rule is nachos, when you get like the pulled pork and
that's too messy.
All the extra stuff. Yeah.
I can't eat it. I don't eat wings not because I don't like chicken wings, but because they're far too messy and it bothers me.
Same with the ribs.
I avoid ribs.
I used to do that. I've come around to ribs. It's
not a thing. Dude, they're delicious and I love them.
They are.
They're too messy.
It's a mess.
I don't like eating corn on the cob. I cut it off. Eat it.
You take corn on the cob and cut it off?
Yes.
So you just have
it's the most un-Iowan thing about me for sure, Robbie, but I totally do.
You take the time to
cut it off with a knife and then I eat it.
Man. No, there's no way I'd do that.
We were at TJ Maxx, right?
Yep.
So they sell like overstock stuff apparently.
Yeah, it's
just like stuff.
Yeah, it's like,
but I think it's overstock from like other places.
Yeah.
They had some sort of corn, like cob removing
tool,
kitchen utensil,
kind of like an apple core.
Yeah, and I was very, very close to buying it
because you'd use it.
Yeah, I would. I would eat more corn that way. I would totally buy more sweet corn if it was that way. But like, it's one of these. We get so much fucking flack for this. I don't like doing it because people give me shit about it, so I just don't eat it.
You just don't eat. Corn on the cob because
I just don't eat it.
I remember because my grandparents had a farm, and then they would like cream their own corn and like can it and stuff, and that's when you cut it off the cob, obviously. And I remember, I swear they had one of those, like an apple core or tool.
Yeah, it was kind of,
but it was like for
corn. Yeah.
So I want to say they had something like that where it would just like
the best.
Take all the corn off the cob and then you put it in the bag.
I should have bought it. Maybe I'll go back and buy it.
Yeah, apparently you need to.
But yeah, that's slathered in. That's too much cross contamination.
No, slathering any fluid on your fries that's a no-go for me.
I also firmly believe this doesn't apply so much to French fries as it does to other things, but I also firmly believe that if a restaurant brings me something pre-sauced, it's because that thing sucks and they're trying to cover it with their sauce. Like pulled pork.
The exception is wings.
Well, right, because that's supposed to be done that way.
Boneless,
Yeah.
But that's the exception.
But like pulled pork or pulled chicken or even brisket or whatever, like if the pulled pork, when you get it and it's like
slathered,
but it's like been stirred in, that's because their pulled pork sucks. I said it, Robbie. Fight me, bro.
I'm not going to fight you because
I will fight that to the death.
I completely
If they
agree.
have to stir the sauce in and make it completely coat it, it's because it sucks.
No, it's when I go to Jethro's and I order the meats.
Right.
And it shows up.
And they give it to you and go, here's your options of barbecue sauce.
It's over here.
Or don't eat it at all. That's your choice.
Here's your meat as it's supposed to be with no
meat
extra.
The meat should be able to. It doesn't have to, but it should be able to stand on its own. And if it can't, you didn't do a very good job.
Agreed. 100%.
So that's how I feel about it.
Speaking of, I guess you don't eat ketchup at all. I was going to say, like,
I don't like ketchup. I don't want a sugary tomato paste.
Oh, you're ridiculous. Ketchup is fine. Just don't put it on your steak.
Oh God, my wife does that to me, and I hate her.
How do you want it? Well done and ketchup covered,
Nah,
please.
she doesn't take it well done. My grandma, rest in peace, her steak resembled, like we always joked
Leather.
that like when my grandpa was done cooking the rest of our steaks and the grill had cooled off a little bit, he would grab some of the charcoals from underneath and serve those to her as a steak. Because that was essentially what she was after. My grandpa's like the type of guy where like drag it across the surface of the grill, flip it over, drag it across the other way,
Good enough.
serve it to me.
Yep.
And my grandma's like,
Polar opposite.
like if there's any amount of tenderness or juiciness, or if it's not completely gray all the way through, don't serve it to me.
I like to have a little like a red pool at the bottom.
Yeah, it should bleed a little when I stab it.
Yeah, just like. Yep. No, I want you to imagine an oven, and it's open on both sides, and I'm on one side of the plate, and you're on the other side with the steak, and you throw it through the oven, and I catch it on the
I don't want
plate.
it quite that rare.
That's how I want it.
I don't want it quite that rare. I want it warm all the way through.
Yeah, I do. I don't like it to be cold.
No.
But yeah, then I also don't slather it either. I mean, I just don't like to. If it's not Asian food, I don't slather it. Unless it's cheese, I will slather things in cheese.
Well, I mean, yeah.
But I'm not eating it by hand. Like if I have a smothered burrito in nacho, it's just smothered in
Mexican
nacho cheese.
food, I think you also slather
Yeah,
in things.
yeah,
And you mix it together.
and you eat it with a fork.
Like nothing's
or
worse.
chopsticks.
Apparently, I don't know this from experience because I don't eat it, but apparently nothing's worse than a burrito that's not well stirred together before it's rolled.
Oh, that's a fact. That's what separates Pancheros from the rest.
That's what I'm told.
Because you go to Pancheros and they take they call it the bob. And they
Right.
take the bob and then they like mess with the burrito and they mix it all in all
Right.
perfectly and then they roll it up and hand it to you and they're like, "Here is your perfectly made burrito, sir."
Yeah.
And then I take it and I eat it and it's delicious from start to finish.
I go into Pancheros and I order a steak quesadilla, and I swear I slapped their mother half the time.
Their tacos are really good.
They get really mad. Half the time that I go into a Panchero, that I'm drug into a Pancheros by my coworkers, and I order a quesadilla, I swear that I
this fucking
insulted, that I insulted the food service worker's mom.
guy. Yeah. We have all of these options.
Steak quesadilla, please.
The quesadilla is here for
And
children.
then they're like, "Do you want this and this?" No, I want steak and cheese on a flour tortilla.
No sauces, nothing.
Oh, because it's spicy. I'm a bitch.
Oh God, I want spicy Korean short ribs so bad right now. Just asked me like just before we started the show what my favorite food was. I think she's planning for Valentine's Day.
Oh, weird.
And I was like, it's not my favorite food, but it's the only thing I'm thinking about, and it's Korean short ribs because I haven't had them again. I need something spicy.
Black pepper's too spicy. I don't need that in my life.
Man, I got a whole fridge of things we should feed you.
Hot nuts.
Hot nuts? Yeah, Takis make nuts, apparently. They're freaking delicious.
I don't know, man.
I was like sweating before the show last week eating those.
I'm a bitch. I admit it.
It happens.
These are facts.
It took me years to grow into appreciating a good spice.
No, I don't like spicy foods. I've grown to appreciate a lot more things than I used to.
Spice isn't it
The
yet.
spice is just not there yet.
I'm desensitized.
Good for you, Robbie.
Just like everything else in my life.
Where are you in your porn scale on spicy food?
We're talking about my porn, or am I talking about my spiciness?
Where on your porn scale are you at for spicy food?
Wouldn't it be easier to talk about?
Are you like kink 1, or are you farther into, or like are you just dipping your toe into hardcore? Where are you at, Robbie?
I'm just past hardcore with my spiciness of my food.
Like looking for a kink?
yeah.
Trying to settle on what your first one's going to be?
Just a kink.
Okay.
Just one kink. You know,
Okay.
I don't do the blazing wings. It doesn't have to hurt that much, but just a little.
Does it hurt?
I like it to hurt a little.
Does it hurt when it leaves too?
Just a little.
See, I don't need that.
Just a little.
I don't need that at all.
That's as far as my kink goes when it comes to spicy food. Just it has to hurt a little in and a little
No,
out.
I don't like being hurt, Robbie. My food should not hurt me.
If it doesn't hurt you a little bit, it's not the one. Right? Yeah.
I don't think that's how that sounds like sounds like a toxic relationship.
No.
Robbie.
It's
some Machine Gun Kelly shit.
No. It's the pleasure and pain combination making it good.
I'm not with you on that one.
I haven't, not emotional pain. That's totally separate. Physical, like sexy pain.
Damn it, Robbie. Oh, let's stop.
You brought it up. You wanted to talk.
No, I don't know why.
You did this.
No, I don't know why.
Last week you set me off with a stupid
wanna
ground.
go to bed.
And this week you set me off with my kinks.
I want to go to bed.
Okay. We'll catch everybody and their kinks next week.
No, we don't need to talk about kinks on the group.
I want to hear
DM
about...
Robbie.
No, let's talk about...
DM Robbie.
Let's publicly talk about your kinks in the group. Tag me in your kinks. Let's talk about it on the group. We'll catch you next week.